And today, as you know, we will explore the earth element. First, I want to acknowledge that in early Buddhist teachings, the elements were considered essential foundations for practice. So this isn't my original idea. And there, the earth element represents solidity. So form, the weight of the body, the bones, the skin, the structure that allows us to walk and to sit and to live on this planet. And in fact, the Satipatthana Sutta, which is the Buddha's famous discourse on the foundations of mindfulness, guides us to meditate on the elements directly. So recognizing how earth shows up in our bodies and in the world around us, and then sensing that deep interconnection between the two. And when we turn towards the body, which all of you know is considered the first foundation of mindfulness, we can feel that truth directly. Our bodies are not separate from the earth. They are earth. The calcium in our bones, the iron in our blood, the minerals in our tissues all once belonged to soil and stone. So in a way, it occurs to me that this body is a temporary gathering of the element of earth. So borrowed for a time and then returned, which means to sense the body is to sense the earth itself. And I want to invite us to take a breath with that, to really let that in. This body is a temporary gathering of the element of earth, borrowed for a time and then returned. To sense this body is to sense the earth itself. So when I reflect on the earth element, one of the first things that comes up for me is foundation. Now, in addition to being what our bodies are made of, it is literally the ground beneath our feet, the basis of life here on this planet. And our species evolved in large part in response to Earth. So in a physical sense, Earth steadies us and nourishes us as foundation. And it's the anchor that allows life to unfold. And what Earth offers us emotionally and spiritually is that same sense of belonging and steadiness. So when things feel chaotic, and when the other elements are doing their thing, when our inner fire is flaring, when emotions come like floods, when the winds of thoughts, and tornadoes sometimes of thoughts, scatter us, or when space starts to feel more like absence than openness, Earth reminds us, come back to ground. Feel your feet. Sense into the body that belongs here and be here right now. And as Thich Nhat Hanh said so famously, one of my favorite Dharma quotes, simple and profound, he said, no mud, no lotus. So lotus flower only blooms because there is mud underneath it. And that mud, like all mud, it's not pretty, right? It's mucky, it's decay, it's compost. And it is also the condition from which beauty arises. So Earth shows us that the very processes we often resist, loss, change, death, letting go, these are what create the fertile soil for growth. So there's a paradox here. Earth is steady and solid and containing, and is also transformative. And we see this so much in nature. Leaves fall, trees burn, bodies return to the soil, and that soil becomes food for what's next. So in our inner lives, the same thing is true. The limiting beliefs that we've outgrown, the identities that don't fit us anymore, pain that we've been carrying for way too long, all of this can become compost when it's met with awareness. So that's the alchemy, and it can enrich us. Joanna Macy calls this composting our pain for the world. So not bypassing it, but transforming it with awareness into nutrients, like courage and compassion. And earth also teaches containment. So healthy soil holds water, it filters it, it channels it into life-giving streams. And as we talked about last week, rich, nourished ground moderates fire, helps stop it from burning way out of control. Mountains and trees, which of course are other forms of earth, give shape to air. They slow winds, they guide their movements, and even space is held by earth. In the hollows of caves, those winding corridors of root systems, there's space there, opening between stones. So in our hearts, earth teaches that same capacity to hold our experience with steadiness and to meet our moments with equanimity. It's what allows strong emotion to move through us without overwhelming us. Just the way that soil offers the roots of trees a place to anchor that allows them to withstand storms. We've talked about that here. So it's what lets us find stability and a sense of balance, even in the midst of change and uncertainty. And of course, like all elements, the earth can move out of balance in us too. So when there's not enough earth, we can lose touch we can feel scattered and kind of blown away. We can float off into thoughts. We can get swept up in the busyness and intensity of air and fire without ever landing. And when the earth in us becomes depleted or too compacted, it can lose its vitality. So we might feel heavy and stuck. Resistance to change, more like clay, like hardened clay than living soil. But just as soil is renewed by moisture, by aeration, by the slow work of compost, our inner earth can also be restored with rest and breath and allowing what we release to become nourishment. So earth is a home and caretaker and a support that we can return to again and again and again and again and again. And one more thing I'll bring in, Mary Oliver wrote, she has one of a bazillion incredible poems called Sleeping in the Forest. She wrote, "I thought the earth remembered me. She took me back so tenderly." Mm. That's the invitation of the earth element, to feel ourselves welcomed back into belonging. So whenever the fire flares, water surges, winds swirl, space starts to feel like detachment, earth reminds us to come back to this body, and we don't have to hold it all alone. The earth remembers us and it knows how to hold us, how to feed us. It reminds us that we belong here. And this is not a concept, It is the most physical, literal, grounded truth. So, as we practice together today, we're going to tune in to this earth element inside us and around us. We're going to feel the ground beneath us, the bones within us, and we'll get curious about where in our lives we might need more steadiness, where we might need a little more looseness and space. If there's anything that we're ready to lay down into the soil as compost. And then all of this creates the ground for what's next. So, and we'll plant a seed of intention today too. We're going to make good use of the soil that's here. And then we'll nourish that, with our awareness, intention. So let's practice together, my friends. And I'm going to invite you to prepare the body for a period of stillness, and do not rush this. You might notice if there's anything automatic about how you choose your posture, and just pause for a second and sense into how could you arrange the body to allow you to really have a sense of being supported. What does that look like? And when you're ready, you might allow the eyes to close, or you could soften the gaze. And as you're arriving, beginning to notice what it's like to be here in this body, breathing this breath and this one too. And again, inviting that sense of settling, softening. And as you're breathing, on your next inhale, I invite you to imagine drawing the breath up through the soles of the feet. So filling the body with breath from the ground up. And once the body is full of breath, exhaling it out with a sigh. And again, inhaling through the soles of the feet. And with that breath, inviting the strength of the earth to flow through you, to fill you up. And then exhaling out with a sigh. And we're going to take one more breath like this together. Breathing as Sangha, inhaling through the soles of the feet. Filling the lungs, the belly, all the way to the crown. And then exhale, letting go. Allowing the breath to return to its natural rhythm. And beginning now to tune into the places where you're in contact with the surface beneath you. And just sensing the weight of the body pressing down there, that pressure. Might be warmth. And feel the steadiness of the earth pressing back. This is a collaboration. resting into the support of the earth and being met by it. Notice if there is any holding on, any gripping. I scan the jaw. Sometimes the muscles of the thighs are holding on, or the belly. See if it's possible to soften and let go and allow yourself to be held. Remembering that this body is earth. The bones and blood and tissue, all borrowed. Just for a little while, this body is a gathering of earth. Experiencing it as intimately as you can. Greeting and allowing whatever you discover. And noticing that just like in nature, sometimes our inner earth can feel scattered, depleted, maybe too compacted. So noticing what your inner earth element is like. No judgment. Befriending whatever you find with a kind, curious attention. And just as soil can be renewed with water or air, that slow work of compost, our own inner earth can also be restored. So, sensing into what's needed, you might offer it. Maybe your breath is nourishment, loosening up and aerating the soil, creating space. Maybe you're allowing it to come together, become heavier and more fertile, giving you that strong foundation. Offering whatever is needed. You might also drop in a question. Is there something that I'm ready to lay down into the soil? Let it compost, let it go. Could be an old story. Maybe it's some tension in the body, a heaviness you've been carrying, a fear. If something comes up, imagine gently placing it onto the forest floor of your awareness. Just set it down. Trusting that the earth knows how to receive it, transform it into nourishment. And sensing now if there is a seed of intention that you might plant. So some quality that is ready to grow. Trust, belonging, patience, just allowing it to arise, not forcing it, giving it room. And if a word or an image arises, imagine placing it like a seed into the soil of your own heart. And then nourishing it with breath, with presence. Trusting that what you tend will grow. And letting go now of any doing. Just resting with this whole body as earth. You as a landscape, part of the greater whole. All of it held in space. Just being here. We'll close with a poem called A Gathering. Beneath your feet, the living earth endures, ancient, unwavering, collecting what has fallen, leaves and ash, the bodies of great trees, sorrows too heavy to carry, all of it cradled into nourishment. This body, too, is a gathering of earth, temporarily arranged into bones and beating heart. Set down your stories of separateness. The earth remembers you wholly. It holds you close, gently rocks you awake, and whispers, you belong. taking your time coming back. Maybe some deeper, fuller breaths. Little movement in the body. Opening the eyes slowly. And just reorienting yourself to the space around you, our shared space. When you're ready, no rush. Thank you for your practice, my friends.